And welcome to the In Between Sets podcast. I'm your host, Kate, and this is
Abigail.
She's also your host, in case you didn't know.
Sometimes.
Co-hosting.
Co-host.
I was going to say something. Dig it! Oh, it's episode 10.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I was
Double
going to say.
digits, finally.
Finally, episode 10. We're going to start this podcast off by asking Abigail how her school is.
Yeah.
How
First
school is
week,
going. First
3
week of
days in,
school.
and I am lost.
Yeah.
Y'all. I decided to take Chem 2 and Bio 2 at the same time.
That sounds like an awful idea.
Mind you, I took Chem 1 and Bio 1 in 2013. So the professors do this thing where they're like, yeah, you'll remember this from Gen Chem 1 last semester. And I'm like, huh?
No.
Like, we started at chapter 13. I'm gonna need us to go back to chapter 1. Came home and because they didn't do like a syllabus day.
Okay.
Like, it was like,
Yeah,
talk
right
about the
into
syllabus,
it.
and then we did a lab day 1.
Yeah.
Both classes.
Dang.
So I like come home and I'm like showing Kyle because he's like asking how it's going and stuff, and I pull out the thing and he just starts laughing, and I was like, what? And he's like, well, I would not even know where to start. There's like Q's in the equation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Dude, I'm so
I always
lost
thought we should leave the
already.
alphabet out of anything mathematical.
Oh, I mean, but it's all
Just
it's
tell me
all
what
letters.
2 plus 2 is.
And then you got to know the difference between capital M and lowercase m.
No.
They're also different numbers. So, yeah, that's how it's going right
So
now. It's
school's
a little overwhelming.
Going great.
I did ask ChatGPT to, I gave it the whole lowdown of like, I haven't been in school this long, all this kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
how do you study? And then it created a whole plan for me.
Okay.
So I'm going to try that.
Okay.
Because even like this week, I'm like, it's just like getting back into a schedule where you have to like do so much stuff at home, but you don't know how long it's going to take. So it's like refiguring out like a schedule of how you do this. And like college, you pulled all-nighters.
Right.
I don't
You're
do
like,
that now.
I sleep for 8 hours now.
Yes.
I
So I'm like,
require
how-
self-care.
Exactly. How do you study while driving? That's my question.
Yeah.
So
Did you know? Okay,
It's been-
wait. You can tell ChatGPT. This is what I started calling it lately, not ChatGPT, ChatGPT.
I was like, huh?
You can like tell it, no, it's not ChatGPT. It's like something it's the same as, but it's on Google. You can like upload, say like a PDF, like something you have to study for.
Yeah.
And say, make this into a podcast, and it'll read it to you in like a podcast version, so that when you are driving, you can have the material like given to you, and almost like this, like
I don't
in a
care
very,
what people say. I love AI.
yeah, in a
Steal all my
conversational,
information.
take it all. Actually, you know what? Tell me how to live my life
Yes.
better. Thanks.
Matter of fact.
What I get so pissed at is like students have access to Chat GPT now, like where we had to have original thoughts.
Yes.
We had to have like our own study material. Like, you know what I mean?
What's cool about it is like, it's not even the like, I get how like you could, I'm not smart enough to figure out how to like make it cheat for me.
Right.
I mean, I guess I could, but like,
Yeah.
I also like want to be a doctor, so I kind of have to like
Yeah.
also know the information. But like the other day yesterday I was doing problems, and legit I didn't even know what the question was asking, like
Yeah.
that lost. So I would like copy and paste it in Chat GPT and be like, ask me the question as if I was a 5-year-old, or like explain this concept to me
Explain
as
this
if
to
I
me
was
like
5.
I was 5.
And it
next
would, and
summer
then I'm
I'll be
like,
6. Sorry, off the quote. Sorry,
next summer
I'll be 6.
So that is kind of convenient. And then like, it was so funny because I got a iPad before, because I'm like, this is like all the hype of like, you can't survive school without this iPad thing.
Okay.
I'm easily influenced. So
Sure.
I got it, but I'm like, I don't actually like know how to like use it other than like a laptop, you
Right.
know? But then I'm like in class, like watching all these people like download the lecture, take notes on the thing with the pen that writes on, like it's
Yeah.
like I think I was telling you or somebody yesterday that I was like, yeah, it's like the material's like kind of overwhelming, but it's also like school's just different. Everything's like
Right.
electronic,
Yeah,
even the
you
books.
were telling me that all the books are like not even hardcover
No,
books anymore.
they're
Which
not
is
hardcover.
wild.
And
So
then
how
you-
much do you have to spend on books now? If
the
you don't-
same.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
and then
that's
on top of
dumb.
that, this pissed me off because they're all like, you know, you get a book and then you get a code to do like your practice problems or whatever for another
Yeah.
website. you like don't even buy the book. You're like renting it. So you pay like X amount to rent it for 6 months, X amount for
Like
a
to
year,
have it
or
on
X
your-
amount forever. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like the same price. I was like, this is such a
Yeah.
it's such a
You
scam.
guys know.
But community college, because I'm in one class at a university and one at a community college just because of the schedule.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like community college is kind of like legit. You
Yeah.
get free parking, free textbooks, free tutoring, like same class. I was like,
Yeah.
why did I used to like think this was like JV college or something? But it's like class is just as hard, but it's like
Yeah.
cheaper.
Well, did you ever go to Blinn or no?
I think I did like one class over a summer.
I think I did one
there.
class over summer too, and I
Yeah.
remember it being. I'm like, this is just as hard. Like,
Yes.
as what
It's not
the-
any easier, but it's
No.
like more convenient, if
Yeah.
you will. Like even like at the university, I gotta walk, which positive. I ain't having any issues getting my
Yeah,
steps
you
in.
getting steps, girl.
But
Yeah.
you gotta park like 4 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like community college, you like roll right up to the building. You like walk in, they give you a free PDF version of the exam. Like
Beautiful.
everything's free. So that part's nice. But yeah, it'll be a
You're doing great,
it'll
sweetie.
be a learning curve.
Yeah,
for
you're doing
for
great.
sure.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think back in my college experience, and I think it would be wildly different for me anyway. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think I would just, like, I studied well, but like you said, like pulling all-nighters, I think I'd be way more efficient with my studying.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know that I would, like, while class is going on, I think I'd be way more attentive.
that I was saying that too, of like the material is like really hard. Like I truly don't know what's going on
Sure.
right now. But like I feel like that is a huge difference in like age and like time away. Is like number one, you have like I have something to lose now kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you're just like paying way more attention. And I'll
Right.
like notice like people aren't like asking and I'm like legit like front row, like I don't understand this, I need you to explain it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like laughing because there's a
You're over there being like Reese Witherspoon, Legally Blonde. Like, I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question.
I do not understand. I need
Yeah.
you to explain this to me. And I know half of y'all don't understand either. So
Right.
like, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna do y'all a favor.
So I
real
was
quick.
like, I think I'm gonna like pick up on stuff faster.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because you do have to like learn how to like learn.
Right.
You know?
Learning is a skill.
Yeah, because I'm like,
Right.
what's the best? How do I retain information? It's like I don't remember that because I'm like such a learn by doing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all stuff that it's like you don't.
It's classroom.
It's classroom
material.
stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
actually like memorization and like concept understanding and stuff.
Right.
Like yeah, you can do labs, but like you still have to like understand. So
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be a doctor, so
yeah, so I probably should.
So you should probably have
I should probably
a
understand.
concept to
Yeah,
understand.
exactly. Like no more teaching to pass a test.
How about
like,
no more flashcards and
Yes.
like actually understanding what you're doing?
Exactly. So we'll
That's
see.
really funny.
I'll keep you posted if I figure out any fun study habits.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, thanks.
Today's episode, wildly kind of like we're blending the two, but is about confidence
Mm-hmm.
and not. We kind of
blending the two of what you just said one thing.
because blending the two. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I left out a gap there in my
Yeah,
brain,
so yeah.
like of connection. But because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, man, the confidence that I had at 19 and the confidence I have in myself now to do school, to do whatever,
Yep.
you know, and like you were like, well, I have something to lose now, you know, and I was kind of sitting here, I was like, but we also had something to lose then. We just didn't really know because like
value,
the value and like. Yeah, I just think that my confidence back then on, granted, like back then I knew I was smart. Like I say I graduated salutatorian, but there were 32 people in my class. So like,
Dang, you had less than me.
yeah,
I
had
forget about that.
Not a lot of people in my class. So like, yeah, I got second, but at the same time, it was like, I mean, but there was like a lot of smart people in that class too.
Yeah.
It's not like it was, anyway.
So you're really smart.
I'm so smart.
So smart.
But yeah, then I went to A&M and I was like, oh, I'm not that smart
No.
anymore. Like actually.
You were just a number.
After my freshman year, I was like, no, I'll be cool if I graduate with a 3.0. Like, that's fine
That's
with
good.
me. Like, that's good enough. But yeah, I was just kind of thinking, okay, we're talking about confidence today. And we're going to like really obviously stay on more on the confident side, I feel like appearance wise, because that is kind of what we face more with being gym girlies and we get the most asked questions about. But like, also, and we'll tie this into the episode, but confidence for me personally from back then to today has come so far as because like I believe in myself and I have inner confidence, self-confidence, so it just kind of bleeds through to the outside. And I think we're going to dive into that. But there's just like kind of like, nice little segue of you know, being 19 and not knowing how confident
when I feel
you could
like
be.
Confidence back then, like I think like 18, 19-year-old me was like based off the result or like the end. Whereas like now it's more of like the process. So it's like I have more confidence because I know that I can follow a system that I put in place. Like I know I can, if I do these things, like I will be successful. And I know that I will do those things.
Right.
Whereas like back then, that's not what I would have thought of confidence. It would have been more of like, oh, I got an A, therefore I think I'm smart.
Right.
Where that really doesn't mean anything, like in my opinion. I don't think like because you have an A in the class that means you're an intelligent person. And same thing with like body image, whereas like before it would have been I look like this, or like I said, oh, I lost 10 pounds or whatever. Whereas now it's like maybe I didn't, it's not based off the end result. It's like, okay, I said I was doing these things and now I've done these things. Therefore I have more confidence in my ability to do those things. Hopefully that made sense. But like process versus result maybe is kind of like a big difference. But
yeah, I can even say the same thing about myself. Like outcome was what made me worthy of anything, right? Like whether, like you were talking to, I was, ask my poor mother, like I was the most self-conscious person from like 15, maybe 13 till like 27. You know what I mean? Like a long stretch there of just like, even just really outwardly so. Just outwardly, like I, you know, hated my body. Like I did not like the way that I looked. Like, but before then it was just like, I didn't have the confidence in myself because it was an outcome thing. Like it was, okay, I got to A&M. Like I never struggled. Here's the thing. I never struggled with thinking that I wasn't smart enough or that I wasn't capable enough, because I was like, that was the one thing I felt secure in, because it was like, those were the outcomes. Like the outcome of like, you study this and you do this, it's going to result in getting an A, and that A is going to result in you getting a college, and getting college is going to result in you getting a good job. Like, and those things were falling into place. So it was like, I trusted myself to do that. Like I was okay with that, but it was always like that outward appearance, like the actual body dysmorphia and things of going, well, I'm not worthy. But like I'm worthy.
Or like what do other people think?
What do other people think of me? My validation is coming from other things. And I think, I know for a fact, probably around 28, if not maybe 29, I started just being like, if I don't love myself, like, holy crap, no one else is going to. Like, I cannot rely on anyone else to love me for me if I don't do it.
I feel like that was like a very distinct thing for you. Like, I feel like I could remember, like, I feel like, and I don't know, I forget like dates and stuff, but I really feel like it was when you left and went and worked for Dale.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a defining
very much
thing
so
for you, not just in like outward appear, like in a lot of things like that started like kind of putting you down this path of like believing in yourself, confidence, like all of that kind of stuff.
It was very much like, because it was like the first leap I took where I didn't ask for anyone else's opinion. I didn't ask for anyone else's validation. And
because if you did, you probably like, you probably would have met with like, what?
Why? Or like, what are you gonna do? Like, and then also like, before then I felt like any decision that I made or any decision that I thought I wanted to make, I had to get about 10 other people's opinions on it, and like I needed them to solidify. Like, I know that sometimes it's okay, because sometimes you do need someone's permission, especially like me, to go to you and be like,
right.
Can you just tell me to stop doing this one thing that I feel like I'm just digging a self, like, you know, and be like, hey, yes, actually you can set that down. You don't need it. Like, sometimes you do need someone's permission to kind of like let go of something or move on or whatever. But like, for me, I just kept looking for everyone else's opinion and permission to do things. And that was like the first time in my life when I was like, actually, I don't care what you think. I feel very, very called to go work for Dale. So like, was it the right decision? You know, at the time telling people about it, they were probably like, what? Why? You know, like, that's not, you went to college, bro. Like, you don't have to go do that. And I was like, no, this is what I need to do. Like, I just feel like it's right. The only person that was kind of like, okay, was my dad, of all people.
Yeah, of course he was.
Of all people that I go to and be like, you know, I'm asking constantly for his advice, constantly for his permission to do things, because that was my entire life. And I told him, this is what I'm doing. He's like, yeah, sounds good. Like,
great.
How are you going to make money? You know, how are you going to like supplement like with the money that you're losing? I don't know, Dad, I'll figure it out. I think I'll just start this little side hustle of training. Sounds good, Katie. Okay. Like, when do we move? You know?
Exactly.
So anyway.
Yeah,
tangent.
pretty cool.
But
I was going to keep going down that path, but I feel like we're going to hit that in a different section. But I kind of wanted to like back up, because obviously like you were saying, the majority of people that we talk to or that are like asking questions is typically like revolves around like the gym specifically, or fitness, or that kind of stuff. And so I kind of wanted to start with just like kind of the, what's that word, like the oxymoron of like having a body image goal or a physique goal, and also like being confident in what you look like, if that makes sense. So like,
right.
Yeah, I have this goal to gain 10 pounds of muscle or lose this or whatever the case may be, but it's not because I'm insecure in who I am or not confident in who I am. Like this oxymoron of like, yes, I'm confident, but I also want to do X, Y, and Z. Like kind of your thoughts on that, or like.
Yeah, I think like when I talk to my clients about, because most of my clients want to lose body fat. That is, as females, we almost always think we have something to lose. Like we have something somewhere that we're like, oh, I don't like my thighs, or I don't like this, or whatever. Like we are more often than not, when I think of a confidence issue, especially with like maybe body image, you're typically always running from something.
Right.
You're not running towards something. And so when I think of like when a client comes to me and they're like, well, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to lose this, or I want to be like, hey, that's totally okay to have aesthetic goals. Like that's okay to want to feel comfortable and confident in yourself and like lose a couple of like pant sizes or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can also love and appreciate and nurture your body where it's at now too. And that's when I try to like tell them to flip the script of, rather than like running from like, because it starts with shame and guilt. Like when you're running from something and you're like, then that's when like working out is not enjoyable. Working out is feels like a restriction, or eating feels like a restriction, or you're bored of the food, or you're like, you know, it's kind of the cycle of toxic, just kind of running off shame. Right. We've talked about this so many times where like you can shame yourself to a goal, or you can love yourself to a goal. But I try to go, okay, let's, instead of shaming ourselves, you know, yes, maybe we need to lose 20 pounds. Okay, great. That's fine, because that's going to be healthy for you. That's going to make you feel confident, comfortable. But like, how can we run towards something and not run from it while we're doing this and approaching it? So like, rather than, and I genuinely, you and I talk about this all the time, we do not care how you move your body. Like I would rather you like strength train. Like I want you to have some sort of implementation of strength training. Absolutely. That's because longevity purposes, you know, bone density, muscle mass, all these things that we can get into. But like, if that's not what makes you happy while you're taking care of your body,
it's never sustainable.
It's never sustainable. Go to a spin class, go take Pilates, go work on doing a 5K. But like when we are working towards something, then the weight loss itself, and almost like the body dysmorphia, and also like the things that we don't like about ourselves, start to drop off.
Yeah.
Because like now we're gaining confidence in like, oh my gosh, I set this goal to do 10 push-ups and I'm doing 7 with ease. I feel stronger when I go to the gym. I feel like more capable. I'm doing a spin class without having to take a break. I'm doing like, when we set attainable goals, like when we run towards something, well, then we're no longer like running from something we hate about ourselves.
Right.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's like, it's the whole like two things can be true at once, in the sense that like I think a lot of times, especially in this specific category, people think like, oh, you're either on the side of like body positivity or on the side of like the toxic fitness culture.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, the two things can be true at once, in the sense of like, I can be very confident in what I look like right now, but also know I'm capable of so much more. And like, I'm not at my fullest potential because of these things, but I'm confident in my ability to get there.
Right.
And so it's like, it's coming from a place of confidence. Like, I am so confident in the coach that I hired and the habits that I'm going to build that I can be better. I can look better. I can feel better. I can do X, Y, and Z. And it's coming from a place of confidence versus it's coming from, I hate this about myself, so I'm going to do everything in my power, including all the things that I hate, in order to get there. And I just think it's again, it's not like you can't reach your goals through shame and guilt and all those things, because boy, can ya.
We've been there.
We've been there. But like, it's so much more pleasant, and it's also more sustainable, and it also just continues to build the confidence in yourself, because it is a process, not a quote unquote destination.
Well, and I remember too, when I was trying to, I want to take my own hand when I say this, when I was trying to lose weight for my wedding, I was maybe 130 pounds and I wanted to weigh like 120. Like, I'm like, ugh, I just, bless your heart. Like, you didn't know.
It doesn't mean anything.
You didn't know. But like, I remember I was living with my aunt and uncle, and I love them so much. They're great Christians, and my cousin, my family, all of them were great Christians. So they were like, I think, trying to kind of help me at the time, but really didn't know how to talk to me about my eating disorder at the time. But like, I was so hell-bent on weighing, like, and being the smallest version of myself so that I could be pretty in this dress. You know, you want to look great for your wedding. No shame. Yeah. Absolutely zero.
We all have done that.
Zero shame.
Yeah.
And like, but taking away the fact that it was training for a wedding was also just a lot of insecurity in myself. Like, I remember the things that I was looking at then. I remember the way that I was eating then. The things that I was looking at was like, girl, this is such a like a huge like full circle moment, because I was, you know, Pinterest, right? Like, pinning all of these girls that were like about to be on stage for bodybuilding, right? And I'm like, I want to look like that, like full circle moment. Like, now I want to look like that, but to win. I'm
to actually do it.
And then I'm like, let's get out of here, because like I feel so small and so skinny right now. But like, I was looking at those things, pinning those things, and I was just so obsessed with like Ashley Horner. I believe there was this girl named Amber at the time that I was like obsessed with.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Amber Dodswood or something like that. Yeah.
And I just found her on social media recently.
Yeah.
She like popped. Anyway,
yeah,
continue.
She's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's funny that you go and look at those girls now, like Jamie Eason, and you see like they're like us now. They're just like, I don't know what I was thinking then, and I don't know why I was so trapped then. But like, and then two, the things that I was doing and trying and eating, like I've talked about, like I would fast until like 4 p.m. Like right before the gym, and then I would like put 2, I kid you not, whole eggs, like not cooked, whole eggs in a protein shake.
That's disgusting.
And shake it up, and I would drink that on the way to the gym. And then when I get home from the gym, you basically could eat whatever you want in a time period of 4. Like I just was in everything because I wanted to be
the quick fix.
I wanted the quick fix. I wanted all of that. Like, you guys, like, that is what I'm talking about, is when we are shaming ourselves, can we get there? Yes, like absolutely we can, but you are not fixing the things that actually need to be addressed. And there was so much internal work that I was doing because I was running from something like that needed to be addressed here before I could be addressed outwardly. Like, a lot of the confidence and body dysmorphia stuff that we have is not necessarily, and this may be going to be a hot take, but it's not necessarily an outward thing. It's an inward thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like, because when you think about like comparing yourselves to those girls that we were comparing ourselves to, like, if I was so secure with who I was on the inside, it's because I know who I am, and validation's great. Yeah.
We all love validation.
Love a compliment. Yeah. Love a compliment. Like, makes you feel good, whatever. But like, but I can go all day without needing one now.
Right.
Because I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with what I look like. I'm all of these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it kind of, I don't think that the opposite of confidence is like shame or embarrassment or whatever. I think it's literally comparison. Because it's like if your confidence is tied to like your current physique or whatever your physique or the way you look or whatever. The moment you don't, so you're not doing those toxic things anymore, then you no longer have confidence. And like, I don't think confidence is something that you like lose and gain. It's just like a steady thing. Like you either have it or you don't. But when it's tied to like this end result, you don't actually have confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the moment that you don't look like that anymore, the confidence goes away. So you didn't really have it to begin with. It was like tied to this like this outward thing.
Right.
When that's not confidence. And so I don't really know where I was going with that, but just kind of like when you're in this cycle of like shame, and then I get a certain way, I look a certain way, and now I have confidence, and then can't sustain it, so then it goes back, so then you have shame again. There, you never actually had confidence to begin with.
Yeah, because
And
then your confidence is really based on like vanity. For
Yeah,
example,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's based on the fact that you have control over all of these different situations. Well, I have my extensions in. Well, I have, and I'm also all about extensions, all about improving yourself.
Yeah.
Like whatever makes you feel pretty, I don't care. Like, but when you have all of these boxes checked, that's when you feel confident. Like, I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
is like going,
exactly.
okay, but can we strip all of that away and also go, no, I'm still really okay with who I am as a person. And
When I think, sorry to interrupt,
No, you're
but
fine.
like
girl, interrupt me.
yeah, no, right. The whole two things can be true at once, because I think a lot of times too, like even other people will say like, oh, well, she does this and got this done and got this, like she must be so insecure. And I'm like, that's not always the case.
Right.
Like to some extent, like, I mean, or to some people, yes.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. You can be a confident person and also be like, but I want to look better in a bikini, or but I like when I have like I don't think the two have to be mutually
Right.
exclusive. You can have both. It's a matter of like, do you hate yourself when you don't have those
Yeah.
things?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't hate myself.
Yeah.
Do I like it better? Like, sure.
I
Can
love when I have my extensions in.
Yeah.
Like the short hair's fine. Like I'm like,
Exactly.
it's fine. But I'm like, no, I feel like a boss when I've
Yeah.
got my long hair.
Exactly. But like, I still feel good. I'm not going to like
Yeah.
skip the event because I couldn't put extensions in. Like, I'm not
Right.
going to quit doing the podcast because I can't get Botox, right? You know what I mean? Like, do I like when I have it?
She had her sunglasses on. A second,
Yeah.
she was like, I have these because I can't get Botox right now,
Yeah,
which is
dude,
not
it's-
true.
it-
But
But it's like one of those things where I'm like, do I love Botox? I love it. I'd love not having wrinkles on my forehead.
Yeah.
But do I like look in the mirror and like hate myself because I can't get it? Like, no,
No.
I don't. But it's a preference. So I just think like it doesn't have to be, if it's true confidence, they don't have to be mutually exclusive. If it's fake confidence where it's tied to this outward appearance,
yeah,
then they have to be.
right. Well, that's exactly. I think that's a really good way of like summarizing what we were saying is like
Yeah.
confidence is never really truly an outward thing as
Right.
much as it is there's things that are in you that need to be addressed first before because I think a lot of people, and especially we can really get into the comparison thing because Instagram
That was my
and-
next point. So
yeah, Instagram and TikTok and all of these things, like, you can really, but this has been around since you and I were in college when I was pinning like really, really skinny runners that I wanted to look like. And like, and also side note, some of your favorite influencers on like gym influencers and like are genetic freaks.
Yeah.
Not saying all of them or any of them are maybe on PEDs or have BBLs like or anything like that. Like some of them
Yeah.
do. Some of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
absolutely do, and I can probably pinpoint exactly who has a BBL and who doesn't. Like, but there are some people that are genetically more like susceptible to looking a certain way.
Right.
Like, and I think Kelly Matthews, she's a honor active athlete.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and she's got insane glutes, insane hamstrings and legs. Like, she trains powerlifting. She's a trainer. Like, and like she talks about it all the time how her dad was an NFL like player, right? She is genetically more in tune to look that certain way than like say I were. I could probably
Right.
train the exact same way that Kelly does. Won't look the same. I tell you what will happen, my quads will get bigger because my quads are more genetically susceptible to looking bigger.
Yeah.
Whereas bodybuilding right now, I'm having to train glutes and hamstrings 3 times a week to get them to match my quads.
Mm-hmm.
We finally have balance.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's getting there. The other day I was sitting there and I could see my hamstring swoop and I
You're
was like,
like, "Oh."
finally. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But
no, I agree, because if all my confidence came from what I looked like and my comparison was you,
Yeah.
right? Like, we've weighed the same at some point
yes,
and looked so wildly different.
very different.
Right? Like, my stomach will never look like your stomach. Your legs will never look like my legs. Like, it's just, and
Yeah.
it neither is, like, again, not a positive or negative.
Yeah.
We can pick ourselves apart, but like, you can't base the confidence off of that, because it doesn't matter if like what I do, what kind of crazy things that I do. And we could even do the exact same thing, eat at the
I
exact same time,
love
train at the
saying
exact
this.
same way,
Yeah.
and we would look so wildly different. And so
Yes.
I feel like when it's tied to like this visual, like, you're never going to actually have it, because that we're just all so different.
Yeah.
And so it's like you physically can't have confidence tied to something, otherwise you're literally never going to be confident.
Well, you're never
because-
going to be content. You're never going
Yeah.
to be happy with who you look. And that's like something you talked about at the beginning, was going, okay, like, how can I be happy with where I am now, but knowing that I can get better, knowing that I want to get better, that I want better for myself. Like, the thing that really truly changed it around for me was going, okay, it was like my brain like just completely altered and went down a different path, because I go, dude, everyone that I know, one, looks so different. And like, I'm in the gym 24/7.
Yeah.
That's just like my life. That is like what I do. But I could look at you, I can look at Lauren, I can look at Ellie, I can look at Brooke, I can look at whoever, all different body types, and go, we don't look anything alike.
No.
And then two, every single one of these women has insecurities too. Like, and they're all different insecurities. And like, I could, like, they could tell me their insecurity. I'd be like, I've literally never looked at that on you in my
Correct.
life. Like,
Yes.
I've never been like, oof, if I were her, I'd worry about my team. You know, like,
yeah.
I've never looked at her and done that, right? Like, so it was almost like my brain rewired when I was like, well, then why the hell am I looking at myself like that or caring at all? Like, there are, I bet, 3 things constantly that I'm like, I wish I could change that.
Yes.
But I can't. And so I'm like, you know what? You know what? I don't care then. Because that's my flaws, or maybe not even flaws. That's how God made me. And you know what God says about me? Fearfully and wonderfully made. So
I'm gonna have to remind myself of that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, so miss me on like hating all of those things about myself. Like,
yeah, exactly.
and then I'm just going to show up as I am and try to get better in the ways that I want.
Exactly.
Like, that I can control without
and
plastic
so-
surgery
Yeah. Hey, no shade.
or braces. Anyway.
Yeah, right. So we kind of were talking about social media, and I guess, what are your thoughts on like how social media has affected confidence? And I guess like kind of what's your take on that? Because I kind of have 2, but I want to know yours first.
I think, okay, it's almost like I can play good cop, bad cop with
Yeah,
it,
that's-
right?
yeah, that's what-
Yeah, like, so it's like, okay, good cop, social media and following, we'll say, for instance, following influencers, following girls that are a part of Beefy Babes Club or a part of like Honor
A-Team,
Active
yeah.
or A-Team or who, you know what I mean? Like, you following these girls that you really admire and look up to. Like, good cop is, man, I feel inspired. I feel like when I'm having a really low motivated day, I can maybe go watch a Libby Christensen and she's over here like listening to hip hop, and I'm like, you know what? I need to turn that song on. And then I'm feeling better in my workout. You know, like, they're or like, ooh, that's a cute outfit. She looks really good in that. Like, I want to go get this outfit. Like, and then there have been times when like it has negatively affected me, even last year. Like, you and I
Right.
have talked about this. Like,
Shoot,
when
even
you
yesterday
were,
sometime. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
when you were like, when you are consuming so much social media and having it just plastered, even not even social media, just walking down the street,
Yeah.
like an advertisement here or whatever, like just kind of being in your face about like, and I remember like I started noticing that I was comparing how my content looked compared to like Emily Lukeman.
Right.
And I think she's a badass. I think she's pretty. I think she's hot. All these things, you know, she's strong. And I was just like, but I didn't follow her because like I found myself comparing my social media content and also my body and also like, you know, it's like, oh, maybe I should look like her a little bit. Maybe I should whatever. And then I was going, why are you why is this making you insecure? Why is this making you want to change things about you? Because there's a difference. You can draw aspiration from someone that you're following and that you're like looking to, but then you have to make sure that you're not drawing like comparison and drawing like the negativity. You can draw inspiration from it, or you can draw negativity. And I think it's really smart to look at to know the difference.
Yeah.
You know,
so I was going to say something kind of very similar.
Yeah.
One, it's like females specifically. I mean, we've been doing comparison since the beginning of time. You could literally look at like Bible stories of women comparing themselves, right? Like that has always happened. So like it's nothing new. And I think sometimes like we bring it up as like, oh, social media is so bad because it's a highlight reel and this and that, and like, but we all know that. So like, why are we acting like that's the villain? However, I do think I would be so interested to see like the direct correlation between like a woman's confidence and the hours she spends like scrolling social media, like consuming content, not like putting content out, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there is
For sure.
a correlation between that, because it's just so easy at the front of your fingertips to see highlight reels. And it's one of those things of like, even though you know that it is one of those things, it's still like what you're consuming every single day, to the same extent of like, you know, like if you are constantly consuming violence, you're desensitized to violence type of thing. I feel like social media is the same way. So it just makes it a lot easier. But in the same way, like I think there has to be some level of like accountability to it, in the sense that like you can use it as a tool to like I think about A-Team specifically, because it's like the one we're on, but like I look at the girls, I'm like, it's so cool because we all live across the country, and like I haven't even met every single person, but like we get to watch their journeys that are very similar to ours, and it's like very inspirational, and it's very cool.
There's
and like there's community, and there's a lot of like positive encouragement. And I'll be honest, like there's not been a time that I'm like looking at like one of the team, like a girl on our team's page, and been like caught in comparison.
Sure. No.
Like that's all been like very inspirational. But in the same sense, like you have done, there's been multiple people that I've had to unfollow, and it's nothing against what they're doing. Like it's literally not a them problem. It's like, why am I like
triggered
and like whatever is stuck in this the whole comparison thing. So I do think it's social media is a little bit of like a tool to kind of self-reflect of like, how much time are you spending on it, how much comparison, or like what is it triggering in you, like all of these different types of things. And so
my thing with comparison too, and I'm gonna go on like a slight tangent from away from like appearance, and also just talk about like when you're comparing yourself, because this little cord just keeps on falling, and I'm just okay. When I'm stuck in comparison, because people have asked me before, like someone asked me on my story, and it just stuck with me like 2 years ago. They were like, how do you, like, looking like you do you ever feel insecure or compare yourself or anything like that? And I was like, whoa.
Because you are so perfect.
Yeah, because I was like, whoa. Let me show you a picture of this little girl in a gymnastic leotard. Like, she had with bangs, and like, no, like I still get insecure and stuff. But like my comparison now is less about my body and more about like success, like how does their business look or whatever. I think sometimes comparison is
it doesn't go away, it just switches.
It just switches, or it just like trades in and out. Like one day I could be about this, one day I could be about that. But like what I'm trying to say is like, okay, if I'm feeling like I'm comparing myself and I'm maybe feeling jealous or maybe feeling like insecure about something that they have that I don't or whatever, it's like what you were saying, and I'm tying this back to what you're saying, is like it's a good time to reflect and be like, why is this triggering me? What within me is like getting so bothered by how this person looks or how this person is performing or how this person, like, what is it about me that, is it because like I feel a lack of something? Like, okay, they're doing really well in their business. Like that was a big one for me for this past year. It was like, okay, this person is making this much money, I'm not. Like, why are they making this much more than I am or whatever? Like, why do they have more successful business than I do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
without even looking at our different trajectories of life.
Right.
Without even looking at our different like opportunities that they might have had that I didn't. And that's the same thing to go with like the gym, for example. Like you're comparing yourself to this girl who has like, who's probably 5'10", has the longest legs, and like she's athletic, lean or whatever. So not only are we taking like into consideration her genetics, but what does she had access to that you don't?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of season of life is she in that you're not? What kind of opportunities has she had? Like what kind of time does she have to work out like that? You know, like you're comparing yourself to like just two different trajectories.
Yeah.
And like whenever I get caught in that trap, one, I go, okay, like let's gonna reflect on like why is this triggering me? Like, is it because you're lacking somewhere? Because you're not like, you know, you could be better in this area and you haven't gotten better in it yet. So it's kind of like causing that friction a little bit. Like I'm not good at time management. Like I'm better now, but back then when I was comparing, I really wasn't that great at time management. So it was like kind of scratching that itch for me and irritating it. And then the second thought I go and I have is why, this one's so powerful too. It's just like, why am I comparing where God has me to where they are now? And that's where the devil has them.
Yeah. Oh. Kind of gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That was not what I was expecting.
But like, I'm comparing to where like I'm on this path with God, and like He has something so important, so special for me, and like my journey's so important with BB Babes Club, with this, like, but I'm comparing to someone who is maybe on the outside, super happy, super like, oh my God, I'm making this much money, my business is so good. But the devil has them just in a chokehold, and they are internally depressed. They are internally so upset with their life, their trajectory. And I'm like, and I'm comparing their show to mine. Like, no, I'm going to put my blinders on and I'm going to think about like, am I in tune with the will of God? Yeah. Am I in His purpose? Am I in alignment with what He has for me? If I am, I'm not going to compare. Yeah. And they might not be in like this devil's chokehold or whatever I'm trying to say, but like,
but you never know.
Yeah. And so it kind of makes you go, you know what? I'm just going to focus on my lane. Like, I'm just going to sit over here. Okay. Like,
well, and I think exactly what you were saying. I feel like when I reflect, typically two responses come. One, what you were saying of like, I'm being triggered and like feeling insecure about myself because I'm not doing what I should be. As in like, you know, you look at the fitness people and maybe it's like they look great and you're like, crap, like I haven't worked out in 3 days. I haven't like hit my, you know, like, so then it's triggering and then that's typically when I will start the like, well, they must have more time and well, they don't and that's kind of like my cue is like to myself when I start to go down that of like, well, they probably had daddy's money and they probably don't have to work and it must be nice to work from home and like those types of things, then I typically know like this is a me thing of like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. But then there's also like the opposite in the sense of like, so for example, here recently I had to like unfollow like all or like block all these like mom advice accounts.
Oof, yeah.
And
I bet that's so overwhelming.
Yeah, because it's like it's all really good advice and there's nothing that I'm like quote unquote lacking right now. I haven't even obviously had the kid, but like I'm doing everything right in pregnancy or whatever to the best of my ability. And there's a level of like, you just got to stop consuming so much advice and just like kind of be intuitive about it. Yeah. And so I was just like taking in so much where it was like, I kind of did the reflection of like, no, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, and I'm not doing anything like, you know what, but it was just so, it was like, causing me anxiety of like, okay, am I not doing enough? Am I do I need to do this instead of this? And like all of that where I was like, I just don't want that content in my face type of thing. Yeah. So there is a level of like, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, but it's, you just don't need that much content. And I think it kind of goes back to the whole like level of, the level of consumption that you're getting. Like social media is great. Yeah. But when you're on it for 5 hours a day, it doesn't matter how good it is. It's too much consumption. Like you just don't need, it's going to lead you down
whenever I'm like creating content, whenever I'm like doing, and I start to feel like I don't know what I want to say, and I'm like kind of like stretching things, and I'm kind of like, okay, I think I want to say this or whatever. I can tell whenever I'm losing my genuine authenticity,
like your own voice,
my own voice. I have been consuming too much
Yeah.
and not creating enough.
Right.
Like, so then it's super easy for me in my job to just be on this thing all day, like,
Yeah.
and having to post and having to be like, okay, what trending audio, whatever, like sometimes just put it down, step away, like go touch grass, like go touch grass and then come back and, by then I might have figured out something I wanted to say, or maybe I just don't post at all that day. And I'm like, maybe today's just not the day to create, like take a break, but like, yeah, if we're consuming too much, we get way too in our heads.
Right.
But
100%.
anyway, I did want to talk about, like, okay, so we are pulling away into confidence, like we're pulling away from the comparisons, from body dysmorphia, from all of these different things, and we're headed now to the right direction,
down the path.
like down the path of like what that feels like and what that looks like, or maybe how to kind of, what would you tell someone who is like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but kind of like, what's my next step?
Yes. So I would say start with the thing that like you feel like you're most insecure about. Let's say it's
it's my cankles.
It's your cankles, right? But even that, right? It's like, okay, so why are you
I don't have cankles.
Like asking yourself a couple questions of like, but why type of thing. And then starting with
yes, peel the layers of the onion, like
peel,
Shrek.
yeah, exactly.
But why do you feel this way? But why?
Legit, and then kind of get to the root of the reason. And when it comes to like the physical appearance thing, literally, we talk about it all the time, but it's like when you are doing the right thing, what you're supposed to do, starting really small every single day, you will notice your confidence will start to go up. So like even, I mean, we can talk body appearance and all day, but I mean, even for me with school, like it is so wildly, like, I was gonna say insecuring, what's the word? Demoralized? I don't know. Sitting in class and like with people that like, to me, it looks like they understand everything and I have no idea what's going on. And sometimes in that moment, and it happens with anything, not just that situation, even with the way you look when you're consuming, you look around, everybody's like in shape doing it, and you're like, where do I start? And like, you could get stuck in that and kind of be like paralyzed by like, this is how I feel, or I can just pick up a book and just start reading it, and then I still don't understand, and I pick it up tomorrow and I just keep reading it, and then I do some practice problems and I still don't understand, and I just keep doing it,
and then you go to tutoring, and then I tutor you,
and then yeah, exactly, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it, and now you have this boost of confidence, because it's all about like doing the process. So I feel like it's like kind of advice that we give a lot, but it's so true that like it comes from within you, and the only reason, or the only way you're going to get it is by doing the things.
I'll say too, this came to mind. Oh, I'm still fidgeting with this damn cord. I will say too, like, something came to mind when we were talking about doing this topic, where, because I used to, I do this practice for some of my clients, and I've done this practice for myself too. I actually did it in high school, where you write like 10 things you like about yourself, and love about yourself, and that can be appearance or not appearance or whatever, just like, just kind of journaling, like basically, I don't want to say like a gratitude thing, but we are so wired to speak negatively about ourselves. And so I think what the thing is, it takes 3 positive to cover a negative thought, right? Like, so you kind of have to start like putting in positive thoughts. You can sit here and I can look at myself in the mirror and I can be like, you're beautiful, you're capable, you're pretty, but like, that doesn't always land for people. And that didn't always land or work for me to kind of change my thoughts, to change how I speak to myself. And while that's important, like that is important work and it does work, you also have to change your action. Like, and that's what you're saying right now. It's like, start with doing one thing, habit stack your non-negotiables, like, because it's so much easier to put things into action than to believe what you're telling yourself. Because if you already have an issue of telling yourself like, well, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this all-encompassing like negativity, it's going to be really hard to change that just verbally. You have to also put things into action.
And so Pastor Craig talks about this all the time, like our church, like it's the who before the do, like knowing who you are before doing who you say, whatever, I don't know.
What you say you're going to
Right.
do, or yeah.
And I do agree with that. Like, it is, you do have to have a belief in, like, this is who God says I am.
Right.
However, like, for me specifically, what I have learned is that, like, I'm going to wake up and tell myself that, like, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, God has made me a disciplined person. Like, all of these types of things. But sometimes you still have to act even when you don't believe it yet.
Sure.
So it's like, I'm going to wake up and say I'm disciplined, but like if I haven't shown discipline over the last like 6 years, like I don't necessarily like intuitively believe that about myself, but when I say it, now I'm going to start acting in accordance with like that type of description of who I am, I guess,
Right.
or whatever. And so like, I guess I should have started with that, but
No, yeah.
I think I'm very like action driven in the sense of like, I am choosing to believe it even though I don't feel it, and so I'm just going to keep acting in accordance with that. And then over time you actually do believe it about yourself because you've shown that.
I think that was like the big one for me too when I was like having body dysmorphia, and like confidence and like image based too was just going, you know what, I'm just going to walk around like I'm hot shit. Like, I'm just going to walk around like I'm hot and just see what happens and see what just kind of why don't I think I'm pretty? Like, well, okay, says who?
It literally in the Marine Corps we say fake motivation is still motivation.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with confidence. Like fake confidence is still confidence because
and then it just
you act that way.
Then it became like not a thing. Then it became like I don't have to tell myself that all the time anymore. Like,
because you start acting that as if
Yeah.
you are that person.
Yeah.
And so you are doing the behaviors that kind of person would do.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not lying to myself anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I actually believe it.
Watch the comment sections on some of this stuff is gonna be like, she thinks she's pretty, and I'll be like, as a matter of fact, yes, I do.
As a matter of fact, yes.
You can't tell me nothing.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. My mom says I'm pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Anything else you want to leave? I feel like we could keep going on this,
know.
but I do think we should wrap up. So any last things that you have on confidence?
I think, Rihanna said it best. Just kidding. She says in an interview, like, someone asks her, like, how do you have so much confidence or something like that? And she was like, or how do you fake it on days that you don't? She goes, you just fake it, girl. Like, on days that you don't, you just do it. Like, and I think that was the most, like, all-encompassing thing I could think of today was, like, just fake it, you
do
like,
it.
just do it. Like, who cares?
Who cares?
No, the final thoughts is, like, one, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. So it genuinely doesn't matter the flaws that you have or where you find yourself. If you're feeling shame and guilt around maybe where you found yourself now, like say that you maybe have gained 20 pounds and you feel really uncomfortable in the gym and really uncomfortable in your skin, that's a totally valid way to feel. But you don't necessarily have to love where you're at right now to still show your body that you care for it and that you love it.
Yep.
So show up in that way. And the results, like when you do go after something versus just constantly running away from something, you are showing yourself and your body that you love it. And the weight, I always say the weight is a byproduct. Like if you are trying to lose weight, when you're going towards something like a goal of 5Ks or whatever, and like doing your non-negotiable, starting somewhere, the weight is just a byproduct. Like all this, the scale, all of that is just a tool to show you the progress.
Really, the results are always a byproduct.
A byproduct.
So stop focusing on the result and focus on who you are and how that person would act.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And then maybe the last thing we need to wrap up on is like, if you are kind of feeling, because you and I have talked about this before.
I'm like, oh gosh,
me having a spray tan right now.
And if you're not feeling confident right now, go get a spray tan.
Get a spray tan. Get your nails done.
Get your nails done.
Like,
it'll fix everything.
I think that's the thing we need to end on is like, if you have found yourself in a rut of like, I just don't feel like myself, because I've been there, where you're just like, I don't feel like myself right now. I know that I'm pretty, but I don't feel pretty right now. Take a shower. Go get a spray tan. Go do something that makes you feel good about yourself. And then like kind of just use
I literally
that as, like,
did
a
that
jolt.
today.
Yeah,
I was so
jolt to get back into it.
I was so tired yesterday, and like just like not feeling like me, obviously because I have a human in me.
Right.
So like this morning I like had no reason to like get ready for school, but I was like, I'm just gonna like get ready because like then you're like more focused, you feel better, like whatever, and it's like just do those. It's okay to do those things.
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
But that's just really scratching the surface. Fix the things that are going on underneath, within you, the layers and all of that. And then if that doesn't work, go get your nails done.
Yeah.
Go get a spray tan.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's the
that's
episode on confidence. We'll see you in episode 11. Like, share, subscribe.
See you next time.
Deuces.
Buy the cookbook.
Oh, yeah, buy the cookbook.
Okay,
Join
bye.
Beefy Babes.